American Heart Month, I wrote a brief article on a topic that is of very much great interest to me and to many other people, I think, and I would like to both make a video about the article and then I will write it as a LinkedIn article. My article is about the amazing connection between the eyes and the heart. And this connection is well known in medicine, and being a medical doctor and a scientist, I want to highlight it during this month because it is important not only in ophthalmology, in cardiology, in endocrinology, but also in neuroscience, in psychiatry, in patient management, and in drug development. And why is this connection of significance? The eyes connect not only to the heart, but as is known, they connect to the brain. And therefore, having in mind and understanding this connection will help us to diagnose diseases of the brain that may be due to heart conditions and to develop better treatments. And exploring this connection will also provide better prognostic, diagnostic, and therapeutic biomarkers for brain disorders and for heart disorders, such as autism, depression, and Alzheimer's disease. And I am an artist at heart, and I think that understanding this connection also sheds light on the role of the heart in art. And I will express in this article views from a biomedical, scientific point, what science and medicine textbooks teach us, and also from personal viewpoint and that of people that have expressed their viewpoint on the subject. In medical school, I wanted to be an ophthalmologist and I took extracurricular activities, but this is a very sought after specialty, so I was not able to pursue the specialty after graduation. But then I learned, and this is known from ancient times, that the eyes are accepted as a window to the soul. What does the soul comprise? It consists of the heart, the brain, the kidneys, and the whole human organism, and maybe it consists of something larger. It's a matter of biomedical and philosophical viewpoints. So, with this statement that the eyes are a window to the soul and the heart is part of the soul, let's start exploring the anatomical and physiological connections between the eye and the heart as they are presented in the biomedical literature. And the fundus of the eye is a perfect example of the connection between the heart, the vessels, and the brain, the retina, the optic nerve, and the physician, just by looking at the fundus of the eye with ophthalmoscopy or the so-called fundoscopy, they can diagnose pathological heart conditions. Is the vasculature of the eye and heart show commonalities? And therefore it has been said that the eyes are a window to the heart. And I present an article on the anatomy of the eye fundus, and also I present a very nice article which shows how the vasculature of the eye is very similar to the vasculature of the heart, and they are affected mutually. And so this provides the anatomical substrate through which the heart may influence the eye, and just by looking at the eyes we can see changes in the heart. And for example, by looking at the eyes we can see changes affecting the vessels in type 1 and type 2 diabetes and the diabetic retinopathy. And besides connecting to the heart, the eyes, through the vasculature, the eyes connect with the heart through the nervous system, and the eyes connect to the brain with the nervous system, and this is the manifestation of the eye-brain-heart connection, which is demonstrated by the reflexes such as the oculocardiac reflex. And I describe what the oculocardiac reflex consists of, what is the afferent limb, which starts with the trigeminal nerve, and the efferent limb, which consists of the vagus nerve. And I describe how the efferent pathway is initiated by activation of stretch receptors in the ocular and periorbital tissues, and the ciliary nerves relay the sensory message to the ciliary ganglion, and from here the impulses are relayed through the ophthalmic division of the trigeminal nerve to the Gasserian ganglion, followed by being transported to the trigeminal nucleus, and which is the CNS termination point of the afferent limb of the oculocardiac reflex. And in the CNS, the information is processed, and the trigeminal nucleus communicates with the visceral motor nucleus of the vagus nerve. And this stimulates the efferent limb, which causes impulses to travel, exit the brain stem, and transmit to the myocardium, where they end at the sinoatrial node and activate the vagomotor response. And this causes negative chronotropy and bradycardia. And from here it is evident that there is a very intimate connection, that something that affects the eyes and the muscles can affect the beating of the heart and the function of the heart. And just like something that affects the heart can affect the eyes through the vasculature and the nervous system, we know that the eyes are affected in autism, and by eye tracking methods we can detect changes in autism. And we know that by looking at the expression of the eyes, we can detect emotional changes and can conclude about the physical, emotional, and mental state of a person. And perhaps this is not only due to the brain, but also to the heart, because these expressions of the eyes are largely attributed to the amygdala. However, they may also be due to the heart, expressions such as love, peacefulness, joy, and studies show that there are cardiac changes in autism, and individuals with autism have difficulty picking up the emotions of others. So perhaps the heart is involved in these changes in detecting the emotions which affect the eyes as much as they affect the brain. And if we can perceive the emotional state of a person from the expression of their eyes, this means that perhaps we can detect changes affecting the heart, as the heart is involved also in regulation of emotions. And I provide a new scientific paper, however this is using mouse models, how the eyes can detect changes affecting the heart, which are involved in regulating emotions. And another example of the connection between the eyes and the heart is Graves' disease in hyperthyroidism, in which there are eye symptoms such as increased pressure in the eyes, exophthalmos, bulging eyes, double and blurry vision, and cardiac symptoms such as rapid heartbeat, tachycardia, irregular heartbeats, arrhythmia, and psychiatric symptoms such as anxiety, trouble sleeping, and shakiness. And so I provide some examples of the anatomical connections between the eyes, the heart, and the brain, and some pathological conditions, how we can detect these changes. And the idea of my article is not to be a comprehensive overview, which is the subject of books and articles, but just to raise awareness that we have to bear in mind that the heart may be responsible for emotions, which through the eyes may affect the brain, and this could lead to brain disorders. And that also the eyes may help us to diagnose these disorders. And we know from experience that by looking into someone's eyes, we can connect to their soul, into their heart and mind, and just by saying a word, you can fall in love with a person. And what are the biological, anatomical, and physiological correlates? And therefore, perhaps the heart is the inner eye, and therefore perhaps we can look at the quote, "It is only with the heart that one sees rightly, for what is essential is invisible to the eye." We can look at it in a new light, that the heart is the inner eye. And I also mentioned briefly that the heart connects to the brain through the eyes and the optic nerve. such as peacefulness, happiness, excitement, anger, fear, surprise, which may be detected in a person's eye, are largely attributed to emotional centers in the brain, but they may also be due to emotions directly experienced in the heart. And perhaps the great artists see with their hearts and they convey with their art their heart's vision that touches the hearts of other people. And another example I provide is the importance of the heart for brain functioning from learning. Why do many people, me included, learn easier and faster something which they love? By reading it, you pick up a lot more information and you remember it easier if you love the subject or if you feel a connection to the teacher who is teaching the subject. And perhaps the heart has a role in this emotional learning. And from here, we can a little bit understand why heart disorders are linked to dementia, and defects in heart functioning may cause defects in learning and in memory. And this article is just a tiny summary of the art, heart, and brain connection, which involves also neurotransmitters, neuromodulators, hormones, and the immune system. But it is essential to have in mind when we try to understand better the disorders of the heart and the brain and to develop new treatments, and when we try to understand how we create and experience art. And I want to highlight for Heart Month specifically the role of the heart. Thank you very much for your attention. What is my role here? I hope that by reviewing this evidence, I hope that I sparked your interest in the role of the heart in brain disorders and how they connect to the eyes